Coming up on Global Business, Chinese President Xi Jinping inspects northeast China's Heilongjiang province to assess the impact of the recent floods on rice production. Chinese Premier Li Qiang has met with Indonesia's President Joko Widodo in Jakarta to deepen strategic mutual trust and expand cooperation. And marking a decade of the Belt and Road Initiative, we continue our journey around the world to see what the BRI means for local communities. From CGTN headquarters here in Beijing, this is Global Business. I'm Zheng Junfeng. Our top story, Chinese President Xi Jinping has inspected the northeastern province of Heilongjiang. He called for the province to make the most of its strength to pursue high-quality development. Here's more detail.
Once the pride of China's industrial economy, the northernmost province, Heilongjiang, has had weak momentum in recent years. During his inspection on Friday, Xi Jinping urged the province to use technology and innovation to revitalize its industries. He said the province needs to expand its advanced manufacturing and upgrade its traditional industries. He also called for a bigger role for the service sector and improvement in the economic structure. Heilongjiang is one of the most important grain producers in China. Xi Jinping urged the region to further modernize its agriculture with advanced equipment, technology, and management. Heilongjiang is famous for its ice festival events every winter, and Xi Jinping urged it to strengthen its cultural and tourism sectors. He urged the province to protect its rich natural resources like forests, lakes, and wetlands and boost border tourism with better infrastructure. He also called for bolder steps to build a logistics network towards Northeast Asia, with more efforts to make the province an important link in the Belt and Road Initiative.
Yesterday, Xi Jinping visited Harbin Engineering University. He encouraged students to work hard to contribute to the country's scientific and technology strength. And ahead of China's Teachers' Day, he sent greetings to teachers across the country. Revitalizing the economy of China's northeast has been the country's key development strategy for 2 decades. In recent years, the region, which consists of China's Heilongjiang, Jilin, and Liaoning provinces, has accelerated its transformation from a traditional industrial hub to a modern, open, and more comprehensive economic center.
In the first half of 2023, 2 of the 3 provinces in China's northeast saw their economic growth outpacing the national average of 5.5%. More importantly, their number one growth driver was the tertiary industry, or the service sector, which is a sign that the old manufacturing towns have continued with their economic transformation. With strong policy support from the central government, Heilongjiang province has been betting on information technology and software. It hosted the World 5G Convention last summer. Major tech companies such as Baidu, Huawei, and BGI Genomics have built industrial parks or branches in the province. Jilin, a long-time auto manufacturing hub, is building on the existing industry and exploring opportunities in the field of new energy vehicles. For example, Germany's Audi and China's FAW Group are constructing a $4 billion NEV production site in Changchun. The new plant will be the first production site in China where only all-electric Audi models roll off the line. Meanwhile, Liaoning, as the only coastal province in the northeast, is focusing on the so-called ocean economy. In 2021, the State Council approved a plan that aims to boost the quality growth of Liaoning's coastal areas. Economic output from those areas took up half of Liaoning's total GDP in the first half of this year.
For more insights on the revitalization of northeast China and also regional coordination development in the country, let's bring Zhang Gong, Vice President of Research and Strategy at the University of International Business and Economics, Israel. Thanks for joining us. Now, Professor Gong, during President Xi's visit to northeast China, he asked local governments to fully utilize local strength to push forward high-quality growth. What are some of the local strengths are there, in your opinion?
Well, the northeast part of China is a very resourceful area. It's rich in several natural resources, including oil. It also has been traditionally China's industrial belt. But unfortunately, in the last 30 some years, the economic growth of that region lags behind the rest of China, especially the coastal area. And I think what President Xi is saying is that to revitalize these old industries in combination with the digital development, with the development of new technologies we're talking about. And I think in addition to this, there's also another angle that is related to Russia. In the last few quarters, economic interaction between that region and Russia has been really increasing. Trade between China and Russia, mostly going via that route through that region, has really jumped up. I mean, we're talking about China-Russian trade increasing by something like 70% in the last few quarters. So I think in combination of all these factors I've just mentioned, I think this area holds a lot of promise for catching up with the rest of China and dramatically increased economic growth in the future.
You mentioned Northeast China is lagging behind coastal areas in the country. Regional coordination is key in China's balanced development strategy. What measures need to be put in place to allow less developed regions to catch up with more developed areas?
I think for a long time, people have been talking about the business investment environment in the Northeast region has been lagging behind. It's not very accommodating to direct investment, and there's an old saying that the investment doesn't go across the Shanghai Guan, which is the dichotomy between Northeast China and the rest of China. And I think that has to change. And the government has come up with a slew of policies. Intention is to help that region to further develop. I mean, these are fairly favorable central government issued policies, and hopefully, I think in addition to these preferential treatments coming from the central government, the local governments also need to step up and live up to the kind of a business environment that is prevalent in coastal cities throughout China. And I think this is really the fundamental way to change people's thinking of that region. Certainly, there are business opportunities, especially as I said, related to the trade with Russia. But the local government's policies towards investment has to be accommodating, has to be welcoming, and most important of all, they have to come up with policies and other resources to help investors to succeed in that region.
State-owned companies are leading investment in Northeast China with 500 billion yuan in over 100 projects. Can these moves encourage more private investments into the region?
Yeah, well, I mean, the state-owned sector is the most reliable sector when it comes to economic policies of this kind of a scale and this kind of nature. And I think the central government's locating of these projects, these state-sponsored projects implemented by state-owned enterprises in that region will also provide kind of a derivative opportunities associated with these major investments that can be taken advantage of by the private sector. I'm pretty sure when it comes to big projects like this, there will be other vendors, there will be other suppliers that will follow. And in addition to this, there will be other ancillary services, industry jobs and opportunities, and these are usually the opportunities taken up by the private sector. So I think with a major investment like this, private investment is very likely to follow.
Thanks so much for insight. That's Professor John Gong for us from UIBE. In line with the national strategy aiming at revitalizing Northeast China, the local government in Harbin has adopted the successful practices of eastern coastal cities with their own industrial strength to drive the growth of high-tech industries. The technological innovation has played a pivotal role in shifting the local industrial landscape from traditional heavy manufacturing to high-end production. City TV reporter Gong Ming has more.
The Shenzhen Harbin Industrial Park is located in the Harbin New Area, with over 600 registered companies, including industry giants like Huawei and Siling Robotics. The zone is fostering the development of high-tech industries. Harbin Tongchuang Purun was established in 2021 and has invested in factories that produce advanced materials used in semiconductors and aerospace applications. This company has achieved significant advancements in high-end metal manufacturing processes, effectively breaking the foreign monopoly in this sector.
There were just 2 or 3 suppliers worldwide providing ultra-high purity metals on a daily basis, and this limited our production. To secure our production, we must overcome technological hurdles and gain the ability to manufacture these materials internally. Take, for instance, 5-nanometer chips, where only ultra-high purity metals guarantee the chip's smooth operation. In the park, Huawei's Kunpeng projects are underway. In the future, we can explore extensive collaborations on our ongoing projects.
The industrial park jointly built by Harbin and Shenzhen serves more than a physical space. It also combines Shenzhen's experience in IT industry and also Harbin's local scientific research capabilities to develop high-end manufacturing and other industries.
Not far from the industrial park, there is a satellite manufacturing company founded in 2020 by the Harbin Institute of Technology. It has evolved into a platform that leverages the Institute's 2 decades of scientific research and technological advancements, applying them across a range of commercial aerospace sectors.
刚才讲有通信卫星、导航卫星跟遥感卫星。
Our company produces all 3 primary types of commercial satellites: communication, navigation, and remote sensing. Thanks to local government support, we've been invited to establish a modern factory in the industrial park. Leveraging automated production equipment, we're capable of manufacturing over 100 satellites weighing less than 500 kilograms annually.
Harbin is emerging as a technological innovation hub, and the growth of high-tech industries is driving economic prosperity in the region. In the first half of this year, Northeast China's Heilongjiang province completed 278 projects to convert scientific and technological achievements into businesses, resulting in an additional economic income of 3.04 billion yuan. Gongming for CGTN, Harbin.
Chinese Premier Li Qiang has met with Indonesia's President Joko Widodo in Jakarta. Li Qiang said China is willing to deepen strategic mutual trust and expand cooperation with Indonesia. He said both sides should fully prepare for the formal operation of the Jakarta-Bandung high-speed railway in October, and they should make every effort on Belt and Road cooperation, a regional integrated economic corridor, and innovative economic and trade demonstration parks. Li Qiang called for strategic cooperation in the digital economy, green development, agriculture, healthcare, and cultural exchange. Joko Widodo said China has long been a valued friend and trustworthy partner. He said Indonesia wants to cooperate on trade and investment, agriculture and fisheries, infrastructure, and new energy with China. And he said it would work with China to maintain regional peace, stability, and prosperity. During his official visit to Indonesia, Chinese Premier Li Qiang inspects the construction work on the Jakarta-Bandung high-speed railway. Zhao Yingfei reports.
A special plan during Li Qiang's official visit to Indonesia. The Chinese premier inspected Halim Station in Jakarta on Wednesday, one of the railway stations being built as part of the China-Indonesia high-speed rail cooperation project. Li Qiang was accompanied by Luhut Binsar Panjaitan, Indonesia's coordinator for cooperation with China and coordinating minister of maritime affairs and investment. Taking a ride on what will be the first high-speed train to operate in Southeast Asia, Li says the project is an example of developing countries in the region working together towards modernization. He says China is ready to share its mature expertise with Indonesia to help revitalize cities through the high-speed rail. With a maximum speed of 350 kilometers per hour, the train has adopted techniques from China. It's the first Chinese high-speed train being built overseas with whole of supply chains. The 142-kilometer high-speed rail is a landmark cooperation project promoted by the top leaders of China and Indonesia. Li says the infrastructure should serve as a road to integration, openness, and common prosperity. The route connects Indonesia's capital Jakarta and its fourth largest city, Bandung, cutting the journey from 3 hours to 40 minutes. The regions covered by the high-speed railway have a population of some 40 million people. It will be a new infrastructure that can benefit regional development. Zhao Yunfei, CGTN, Jakarta, Indonesia.
World leaders convene in the capital of India this weekend for the G20 summit, which will serve as a platform for discussion on major global issues. For more, let's cross to Radhika Bajaj, who is in New Delhi, India. Radhika, tell us about the arrivals so far of world leaders and some of the global issues that will be discussed over the next 2 days.
Hi, Junfeng. So the arrivals have been taking place since early this morning in New Delhi. We have the Argentine president as well as the South African president already here. Rishi Sunak from the UK landed in the afternoon. The Italian PM is here as well. Just about 15 minutes from now, we will also have the American president touching down in the Indian capital. And an hour from now, we will see the Chinese Premier Li landing in the Indian capital as well. So it's been a busy day of arrivals, and it will continue till early tomorrow morning before all the leaders who are expected to attend the G20 Summit 2023 are finally here in India. In terms of the agenda, well, several bilaterals taking place starting today itself, with India and America holding one, and this will be focused more on technology and defense partnership. Through the course of the next 2 to 3 days, we will see India as the host, as the president of the G20 chair, holding at least 15 bilateral meetings. As far as the broad agenda of the G20 summit is concerned, financial inclusion is top of mind. And when we talk about that and inclusive global growth, the induction of the African Union, a group of 55 African countries, is really going to be the big takeaway from this summit, it seems. Now, besides this, there will be discussions around climate change financing, as well as developing a global framework for digital currencies.
Right. It's India's first time hosting a summit. What do people in India expect from G20? Any expected outcome from the meetings from global leaders?
Well, firstly, Indians are feeling a sense of immense pride. There is pride that India is a capable country in the region that can host the most powerful leaders, during this summit. So there is definitely a sense of pride. The expectation really is a change in perception to see India as a leader that is really, leading the world into developing financial inclusion tools, also developing digital public infrastructure. So essentially what Indians want is a change in perception for the world to see India as a capable leader and the voice of the global south, in the region. Now, besides that, if we talk about the political outcome, we of course know that there is a general election coming up in India, and in the past year we have seen the current government really upping the profile of the G20 presidentship, and we have seen, meetings taking place all over the country, involving different parts of India as well. So this has been a game changer in the sense that what some may consider as a routine presidency has been turned into a matter of immense pride for all Indians, and that is likely to have, some impact on the general elections that take place early next year.
Thank you so much. Look forward to more reports from you in the next 2 days for us from New Delhi. Radhika Bajaj for us. U.S. sanctions and suppression cannot stop China's development. A Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson made the remarks at a daily presser today. The remarks were made in response to a U.S. investigation into the chips used in Huawei's latest mobile phone.
China has constantly opposed the politicization of economic, trade, and scientific and technological issues, as well as misuse and generalization of the concept of national security. The U.S. has abused its national power to unreasonably suppress Chinese enterprises, violating the principles of free trade and international economic and trade rules, and disturbing the stability of the global production and supply chain, to the detriment of others and to the detriment of itself. I would like to stress that sanctions and suppression will not stop China's development, but will only strengthen China's determination and capacity for self-reliance and scientific and technological innovation.
On Thursday, my colleague Michelle Vandenberg caught up with Tolga Buya, Minister and Chairman of Mongolia's National Committee for Port Revival, during his visit to the annual Silk Road Cultural Expo in Dunhua in west of China. Buya shared some fascinating insights into how border ports are transforming themselves to serve the increasing trade requirements of the two neighbors. Take a look.
The main purpose of this visit was to enhance the trade capacity of the border ports, as greater efficiency at the ports plays a vital role in boosting the trade turnover between Mongolia and China. Last year, the heads of state of Mongolia and China agreed on the goal of increasing the trade volume to $20 billion in the near future, and that's why I'm here. During this visit, discussions have revolved around the potential expansion of the port capacity. Additionally, both sides of Mongolia and China are exploring opportunities for more development projects and improved financial solutions. For example, we were discussing piloting the 24-hour operation of the Zamyin, Ud, and Erlian ports, which act as the key hub of the economic corridor connecting Mongolia, Russia, and China. In fact, one of the Mongolian-Russian border crossings is currently operating round the clock. We believe that this decision is important in boosting trade among the three countries. We can anticipate a significant increase in the volume of goods flowing through the ports.
How do you think the Belt and Road Initiative has helped with increasing the border trade efficiency and also bilateral trade and investment?
10 years ago, China introduced the Belt and Road Initiative, which not only revitalized regional trade but also boosted bilateral trade, and in the meantime, enhancing cultural exchange among the BRI countries. Mongolia, over the past decade, has engaged in numerous projects with China within the framework of BRI. These projects span various sectors such as energy, mining, manufacturing, and humanitarian affairs. In my impression at this year's Silk Road Cultural Expo in Dunhuang is that there should be more cultural exchanges between our two countries. Particularly, Gansu province itself is an important cultural heritage site that has contributed to the development of human history. Therefore, it serves not only as a gateway for the passage of goods, but also as a window for deepening bilateral tourism.
So could you give us some examples of some significant infrastructure or investment projects between China and Mongolia, and how has the BRI helped with them?
China has provided several preferential loans to address the challenges that Mongolia faces, and that is within the cooperation framework of the two sides and the Belt and Road Initiative. These loans cover a range of projects, with a notable focus on energy initiatives, including renewable energy sources, as well as bridge and road construction projects. Take, for example, the construction of the Tula River Bridge. Ulaanbaatar, as a developing city, encountered pressing traffic congestion issues, and China invested in the construction of this bridge. The project is now operational, contributing positively to the alleviation of traffic congestion. The people of Mongolia are reaping the benefits of projects initiated under the Belt and Road Initiative.
It's been 10 years since the Belt and Road Initiative was put forward. Over the past decade, 152 countries and 32 international organizations have signed up to the initiative. City Teams reported have traveled to 22 Belt and Road nations across Asia, Africa, Europe, and Latin America. to uncover stories of collaboration, transformation, and people-to-people exchanges under the framework. Setting off from the Khunjara Pass, straddling the China-Pakistan border, a team of CGTN is now on a trip westward to Pakistan, Turkey, Greece, and Tanzania. On today's special segment, our reporter Wang Tianyu visits an auto plant producing Chinese cars in Pakistan.
From three-wheelers to four-wheelers, Pakistan's leading rickshaw manufacturer, Sascar, has embarked on a journey of transformation by aligning forces with Chinese automotive giants.
We are very lucky that we have gone into a collaboration, a technical collaboration with Great Wall Motors and Beijing Automobile.
It all started in 2017, when Sascar inked a contract with Beijing Automotive Group to produce its off-road vehicle. But the watershed moment arrived in 2021. That's when the company sealed a deal with China's Great Wall Motors to locally assemble their Haval brand. Great Wall Motors sent a team of around 20 experts from China to help Sascar set up the plant and train its employees. One Sascar worker told me that period was a lovely time.
See, Chinese friend. He spent whole day with me. We trained, go there and here. He trained me. He helped me in all factors and other things.
In November 2022, Sascar rolled out the first batch of locally assembled Haval units. Aside from the steering wheel shifting to the other side, all manufacturing must adhere to the stringent quality standards set by the Chinese automaker. Currently, the automotive plant can churn out 300 Havals a month, but it has set an ambitious goal of producing 2,000 per month by 2024. Nonetheless, the inevitable question arises: is Sascar merely contributing to Chinese profits by assembling vehicles under Chinese names?
No, everyone is growing. You see, in the bigger picture, Chinese are growing. They may be getting very little profit, but the main thing is Pakistani economy is getting boosted because of these such projects. So I really appreciate Chinese investment in Pakistan.
Sascar's revenue increased over 300% since it started cooperating with the Chinese counterparts. But more importantly, China's future potential is the true reason which makes Sascar so committed to partnering with the Chinese.
I think that the automobiles now being made in China, nobody can compete with them. Not the American models, not the European ones, not the Japanese. Always, in the history of the world, there has been, it's a cycle. One country becomes strong in a product, but that cycle, goes up and then it comes down. Then there's another product coming up. So this is what is happening, and I feel that this is the time for China now.
Wang Tianyu, CGTN, Lahore, Pakistan.
With that story from Pakistan, we wrap up this edition of Global Business on CGTN. I'm Zhu Jufeng. Thanks for watching. CGTN continues with more news and views. Stay with us.